Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. Going back short track racing, get myself back into the late model open series. It's been a little bit since I ran this. Hickory was the last one I ran. Wanted to run Urbandale, or not Urbandale, Lucas Oil, felt fairly decent about it, and then just had life happen. Same thing I kind of mentioned in the ARCA race, so was on week and a half, almost 2 week hiatus from iRacing. Just had a lot of stuff needed to get done and prioritized over that, and my nights and afternoons were completely booked, so I'm gonna try to get back in here.
Pit lane speed limit is
A little bit of a smaller field, only 12 cars, but
push,
not a
push.
bad,
Okay,
not a bad
Dave,
field
we've got
overall,
2
really.
laps
So
to set a decent time.
I'll try to do what we can here, qualifying, see if I can qualify on the inside row, somewhere near the front 3, if possible. Track's a little bit cooler than what I practiced in, but running the setup that I built, I'm gonna try to get best I can out of lap 1. Kind of overdrove turn 1 there, so not going to be a great lap, unfortunately. Definitely have to grind out a better lap 2, which typically doesn't happen. And I overdrive turn 3, so definitely going to have to grind out a better lap 2. Stupid rookie mistakes. We'll see what we can do here on lap 2.
P3, that was a 22.14.
Third so far, but still very early on in qualifying with a minute to go. Try to go faster here. Typically lap 1 is faster for me, but again I overdrove lap 1 really bad, so we do go a little bit faster, and unfortunately puts us P2. Not good enough to grab the pole, I guess. Should be happy with a second for now. We'll see who's all turned a lap time. So the one still easily could take that from us. He's really quick. Let's see if he turns it in. Alright, he does. Sweet. Alright. That looks like that's going to lock qualifying up, so we're going to switch over to the race setup. Hopefully that keeps us in third, and it'll get me what I wanted, so that technically made a bit of a benefit then. Puts us back third, so we could have been starting fourth. You can see we're car number 5. 12 cars total, so I guess we technically out-qualified where we were supposed to be by a couple spots. I'm guessing the front 5 is going to be really tight. The 2 is a little bit slower than I expected them to be, but I think it's going to be pretty tight through the top 5 potentially. Maybe, I don't know, maybe if the 8 somehow gets involved, but I think top 5 is going to be the tight battle. 40 laps, it'll feel like a little while here at USA. They're a little bit longer laps than other short tracks, but should still be a fairly quick race, hopefully a clean one. I believe I've ran with the 4 and some other stuff before. I think I want to say I've run with the 1. So we'll get paints refreshed. Hopefully get some of the other drivers to grid up here just to make sure that those are loaded. I don't really want to see white cars the entire time. We'll jump in. It'll be 2 pace laps here with it being under a mile. Pull up session best lap. So we got the 4 in there. He's got the watermelon paint scheme going. Got the 1. Yeah, top 5 is what I'm going to be shooting for, but really, obviously, would love to finish on the podium if possible. That's just going to be the goal.
40 laps.
Trying to do what we can to get as good of a start possibly. Maybe if I get a decent start behind the 1 and not screw up turn 1, it's possible I could try to take second away from the 3. I don't know if that's going to happen. I don't know if I'd be able to hang on to second, but
we need to catch car number
certainly going to do what we can to be able to pull that off. Going to uncheck the fuel, tires. Hopefully have a little bit of a better run in this than I did in the ARCA series. Get ready to go here. Yep, we're gonna do the best we can. Just try to make the most of the setups. A little loose off the corners to start, but tightens up as the run goes on, so I think it gets to a fairly comfortable spot the last half of the race. Just see how it goes up here towards the front. Pretty happy with the qualifying effort. Again, a couple of these guys are pretty high I-rated drivers. I don't know necessarily if they've gotten all that in late models, because you obviously can be really good at like a Cup Series car or something like that and come to the late models and struggle just because your I-rating says you should do better. But we'll see what we can do around all of them. Gonna get ready to go here. Base gear's gonna be pulling off.
Alright, Jake, stay calm, focus.
One's off and rolling. Got the 3 to the inside. We're just gonna hang here in the middle. Try to get the jump on him. Get into turn 1.
You got one right side. Outside line's clear.
Got the 4 tight to our back end. He's gonna try to clear the 3 as well. Just gonna try to roll the corners as best as I can. Not sliding the car is gonna be the key to keeping it balanced, keeping it fast. Decent start off to second.
P2.
If I get the gap, I'd like to take a slightly later entry into the corners. Help apex it a little bit later, but I'm just going to see where the car is comfortable and who we've got behind us. The longer the 3 and the 4 can run side by side, the better it is for me. Looks like the 3 does clear the 4 though, off of 4.
The leader has just done a
little bit of an overdrive.
The guy behind
They're
has
on
just done
turn
a
1.
22.42.
Not terrible. 1 gets a little loose in front of us. 4 was trying to look back to the inside of the
V2.
3. A little bit of side by side there between them. We'll see if there's any contact. 4 might have been leaning on the 3.
You're matching race pace.
Just
That
gonna
lap was
focus
at
on the 1 up ahead.
22.22.
Loose there off of turn 2. Almost a full second ahead of the 3 and the 4. So like I said, the longer they can battle side by side, the better it is for me to pull away. I'm just going to try to stay tight to the 1.
We're matching race pace.
Trying to take that little bit of a later apex. Probably overdrove turn 1 a little bit. 3's falling back. 1 gains a lot there in the center of 3 and 4. 4's by the 3. 2's going to be working on the 3. Entered way too shallow. It's going to kill me on the exit. Almost a second and a half ahead of the 4 though. There's no pressure from behind. 1's getting a little loose on entry, but that's kind of how you have to drive these cars. 1 tags the wall out of 4 though.
Okay, Jake, that's good consistency. Keep it up. That last lap was a
Just trying to do the best I can
22.33.
to, like I said, be as smooth on the throttle and the brake, roll the center. Try not to slide the car too much. Let's get that release, that little rotation once I release the brake into the corners. Without overdriving it. Still very, very early on though. Only working lap 8. Pulling away. 2 was able to get by the 4.
22.34.
To check and see if there was contact or what happened. 2's trying to hunt down. Oh, the 3 was able to get by the 4. So it's the 3 and the 2 running 3rd and 4th. See what happens there. We're continuing to pull away from them, so thought the front 5 would be a lot tighter than what it
That
is.
was
Side by side between the 3 and the
22.42.
4 obviously didn't help things at all. 1's getting the wall off of 2. Try to tighten up to them. Feel like I've got pace to hang with them right now. Later apexes here really help with how long the straightaways are. Try to carry as much speed down the straightaways. See the 1 pulling away slightly. But I got a feeling with how he's sliding, if we can be kind to the tires, we might be able to catch him before the end of the race and start putting pressure on him. Although I've got to make sure I don't overdrive the entry like
Lap
that.
time's pretty consistent.
Really, really bad exit out of 2. It's continuing to get a little bit tighter out of the corners. I can drive these corner entries a little bit better. I think that might be the spot once I get to them to try to take advantage of it. Hopefully have a little bit more grip coming out. Entered way too shallow that time in the 3. That's going to hurt the drive off. Yeah, big time. See how much one pulled away. 3 starting to separate himself out from the 2. He's hanging right around 2 seconds back. Starting to fall off from the 1. Just gotta try to be as smooth and consistent as I can. One makes a big mistake there in the middle of 1 and 2. Allows us to pull a 10th on him. He gets it back there in 3 and 4. 3 might be slightly gaining on us. Drove turn 1 again, had to wait a little bit to pick up the throttle. Drove turn 3 as well. Let's start to pull away a little bit more. We're almost halfway done. A few more laps to go towards that.
Lap was at 22.63.
Pushed really wide. The wall out of turn 2.
The gap in
the
front
throttle
is
too
now
early.
1.00.
The 1 to pull away. Also allowed the 3 to close up. Move the brake bias back a little bit to help the entry
Just
in.
done a 22.74.
Well, it's not going to matter if I don't hit my marks. I think if I can drive my line, the gap's big enough that I should be able to stay ahead of the 3 and hopefully hang on to 2nd. But real good, interesting. 4's trying to battle his way back up. He's up to 5th. See if this lap car provides any challenges for the 1. It's the 9. He stays high going into 3.
Gap
Lets the
ahead
1
is
on the
now
inside.
1.20.
Hopefully, we'll see where we catch him. Looks like it might be possibly into 3 and 4, if not into 1 and 2 next time.
The track temp's increasing.
Pretty loose
It's now
going into 3, kind of overdrove it like I was doing.
Fahrenheit.
He stays high for
Okay,
us.
Jake,
We're going to
you're
take the
halfway
inside,
home,
right
thank
side.
him.
Clear.
Clear him. Halfway down. With 19 to go this time by. Trying to reset, pull back away from the 3. 1's checking out. Try to do what I can to see if I can get back to him, but I will gladly take a 2nd place finish right now.
The gap in front is now 1.46.
Only thing I can hope for is that the 2 somehow can find some pace, get back to the 3, start another side-by-side battle. That'll cause them to fall back, although we've opened the gap back up to closer to that 2-second mark, picked up another 10th or so. I said I feel like I'm probably quick enough to hold 2nd. So, making progress, learning these cars a little bit more, both in setup and driving. A bad lap that time though. 3 closed up a 10th. Way too early on the throttle there. Gave up a ton of time out of turn 2. Just gotta let the car roll a little bit more. Work another brake bias adjustment. Working lap 25 now. Trying to We'll let
The gap in
center a
front
1
is
and 2 a
now
little bit longer before I pick
1.80.
up the throttle. Pretty clean race though. 9 was the only lap car we've seen. No real smoke, nobody on pit road at all. Like I said, smaller field, but I've seen small fields go badly
The gap
too.
behind is now 2.00.
I was kind of bouncing around with the 3, but hanging right around that 1.8 to 2 second mark. So plenty of room back to him. 14 laps to go.
You've just done a
But we're starting to get to the point where
22.83.
the 1's further ahead than the 3 is to me, which is not good. A little bit of an overdrive. Exit out of turn 2. Trying to get back to a little bit of consistency as the 3's finding some space. Starting to close up. I think tires might be falling off a little bit more, although I think it's also largely due to me making the mistakes. Driving the exit of 2 as well as that shallow entry into 3. One's pulling away from us, but the rest of the field's pretty consistent for the most part.
The gap behind is now 1.92.
Not sure who the guy is talking to. Maybe involved in something with the 4 or the 5. Really, really bad one there. Really, really bad one. 2's starting to close back down to the 3. Gap's now down to about 0.2 of a second. 2 to 3 tenths.
Your last lap time was at 22.87.
Ten to go. Final quarter of the race. .11 up ahead on the relative, but he's still almost half a lap ahead, so don't think we'll be catching him. The gap to the 3 still holding pretty consistent. I feel like I entered a little too shallow that time in 3, and you can see
Your lap
2
time
and 3
was
both picked up a 10th on me.
22.85.
So kind of in this weird middle spot. I'll start to fall off on my own, just not quite as much pace as the 1.
The gap behind is now 1.81.
I was able to open up a big enough gap from the rest of the field that kind of just in this own little second place bubble. But I will gladly take that right now. Needed an easy race to come back into the series. Didn't need chaos and mayhem after I've taken almost 2 weeks off. Hopefully should be a somewhat decent gain in iRating if I can stay in second. That's why I like starting on that inside row. It just gives you such an advantage off the start. Very, very fortunate that the 1 bumped us back. Second place would have put us in a bad, bad spot. 5 to go.
You've just done a 22.86.
We're up to 5th still.
You've got 1 gallon left.
Definitely take a look and see what happened to him at the start of the race that caused him to fall back.
The gap behind is now 1.86.
2 and 3 are pretty much running nose to tail. He's trying to do all he can work in the back bumper of the 3. staying pretty consistent, somewhere around 1.7 and 1.9 back, or 1.8, 2.0 back. Although they're going to close up as I enter 3-2 shallow. 2 to go.
2 to go. Keep it together. We'll be on the podium.
One's got the perfect drive. Clear out the windshield, nobody to worry about behind him. I overdrove turn 3 there, but we get the white flag last time around.
Alright, Jake, one more to go. Keep it together, we'll be on the podium. That lap was a
Nice,
22.90.
Still entering shallow into 3, but with all this time, I can afford to make that mistake on the last lap. Hey, I'll take a second place finish. Nice way to come back to the series. Nice to
Well
take
done.
advantage of
Decent
that
drive.
third place start. Get a good start on the 3. Be able to keep it there. Did about all I could, so just did not have the pace for the 1. I think possibly set up, but likely all in driving. I just flat out didn't drive it well. So little bobble off of turn 2, but overall we'll take that. Take a look.
Learn how to drive, douchebag.
Sorry about the chat there. Not sure what's going on with the 8. Take a look at what happened. It sounded like there might have been some issues. Contact there. Let's go from the start. Let's see what happens with the 4. The 4 was engaged in a really good side-by-side battle with the 3. You can see them running. I mean, they're being clean. They're keeping off of each other and trying to run side-by-side, which is, you know, refreshing to see. Too often it seems like guys anymore just beat and bang on each other. Just 4 kind of overdrove the entry. 3 tried to cross over that allowed 3 to get back to the inside. 4's getting the momentum on the outside, but can't cut down in front of the 3. He's not quite clear, so the 3's going to dive it in. 4's going to try to cross back over underneath the 3, get the run off the corner. He's going to look back to the inside, drives it in a little bit deeper, makes a little bit of contact as he's trying to get on the brakes, stay off the 3. No harm, no foul there, though. That's just short track racing. 2's lurking behind, trying to take advantage of this. You see him a couple car lengths. 3's doing a good job pinching the 4 down to the bottom, trying to stall the momentum out, and the 4's just trying to do what he can to combat it too. 4 almost makes a little bit of contact with the 3. This is just great side-by-side racing. This is really good side-by-side racing. 3's doing a good job. That time he gave the 4 a little bit more room through 3 and 4, allows the 4 to get a little more momentum off. Let's see. Oh, maybe netcode there possibly. Just gonna allow the 4 to finally clear him. He's doing what he can to try to get back to him. 4 kinda leaves the door open. He's running about half lane. Oof. Can't tell if the 3 actually gave him a bump or not. Man, if he did, it was so slight. And I kicked the 4 up just high enough. 4's going to try to get the run off the corner. Holds tight to the 3's right rear. Has to give up the spot. It's going to try to slide now in between the 2. The 8. Okay, so here's what happened. Well, can't tell if this starts with contact, but there's definitely netcode there. So the 4's trying to cut down in front of the 2. He's trying to get down. I don't know if he's trying to cut in front of him or if he's just trying to cut down and get as much of a run as he can. But he's coming down and gets netcoded with the 2, which gets him there. And then you're going to see netcode happen here again. Like, you see the 4 just all of a sudden get knocked back to the side. That's not him. I don't think that's him correcting it. I think that's the 2 with a little bit more netcode there. So it sends the 4 up. He does a good job to hang on to it because he was kind of in a 4-wheel slide, but that's what allowed the 8 and the 7 to get on by. So, I mean, it was good hard racing. The 3 was clean, the 2 was doing what he was supposed to do. Like, everything worked out clean that way. So, let's start back at the beginning. We're going to try to just go through all of the incidents. So the 7's back here with the 10. 7 just kind of turns down on the 10, a little bit of contact at the door. And there's where the 1's going to get the wall. 9's going to go for a spin going into turn 3 on his own, middle of 3 and 4. I just overdrove it. Okay, so here's the contact that we saw, which really is all netcode. The whole entire thing's netcode. Not sure what the 8 just barely drags the wall there, the front stretch. It's the same thing. 10's gonna push the wall with the right rear. 8's gonna get the wall. I'm gonna get the wall off of turn 2. A little bit harder than what the 1 did. Kind of the same idea. 6 is gonna get the wall. We're trying to take those entries. Now 6 just gets into the 10. Kind of shoves the 10 up the track. 10 comes back down. Don't know if the 10 was trying to turn down or if that was an intentional move. 12. Is gonna get the wall out of turn 2. Yep. Kind of similar to what I did. 7. Just barely broke the wall. Everybody's trying to take as wide of an entry in, so they keep getting it. 2, man, 2 gets the wall hard behind the 3. That was probably harder than what I and the 1 did. The 8 just goes straight into the back of the 6, sends him up the track. So, wonder if there's going to be some retaliation. I'm sure the 6 is not all too happy with the 8. 10's back here. 10 wides the wall. Now he's got right front damage out of that. Just overdrives the entry, gets square in the 12. Doesn't really do much other than sends the 12 kind of up the track, a little bit of damage. And then this is the end of the race. Yeah, so let's go see what happened with the 8. I want to see what exactly he's complaining about. Because he just slams the 6 there out of retaliation. It's not the lap that it should have happened. Alright. So we saw the contact that the 8 made. I'll go back a little bit and see. I thought the 8 kind of just got in the back of the 6, moved him up the track, which, I mean, that's short track racing, but I'm sure the 6 is not going to be real happy with it. The 8, so right here, 6 just gets a good run off of 4, dives to the inside. 8 just has to get in the inside line, drives it, slides up, look back to the inside. There's got to be something else that ends up happening that makes the 8 so angry. 6 really overdrove it there. You can kind of see him getting loose. Oh, barely touches the 8. Like, barely gets the 8. Coming off of 2. And the 8 overdrives 3. So the 6 is going to go underneath. Doesn't pull right up in front of him. Does nothing wrong there. Okay, so there's the shot. That was the one we saw from the contact. I mean, I got nothing so far. Is that the contact he's complaining about? That's the contact he's complaining about. That's... I guess he kind of gets him coming into the corner, and so that kind of slides him and gets him loose. I don't know. I mean, that's a little bit worse than what the 8 did to the 6, but you kind of got to understand that if you're going to bump somebody and bump and run them, they're going to give it back to you. I mean, it's short track racing. It's going to happen. So, but if that's what the 8's all upset about, that's also pretty pathetic to get that upset about. Like, that one looked like he was going for the back end of the 6 and just tried to time it in to get to him and wasn't there. if that's also what you're getting upset about, you gotta understand it's short track racing, and when you do it to somebody, you're gonna have to expect it coming back to you, and you're gonna have to expect it coming back worse too. So, a little bit of a temper tantrum there by the 8. I don't know, hard to say, but it's enough of that. We got a decent result of it. Let's go take a look at that. Hopefully, see some positives, both numbers. Top split of 3:25:15. So again, not crazy strong compared to what usually happens for your strength field races at the beginning of the week, but for late week one, that's not all that terrible. I'll take that. Decent safety rating gain. We've got the 0.4 bump, so 0.61 up to 3.45, and a halfway decent iRating gain at 71, so just under 2850. Long way to go. Long way to go to get back to 3,000. 3,000 seems to be that mark that I get to for like one race, and then I do something stupid and lose it, and then fight all over again to get back to it. So hopefully, finally get something going. But halfway decent. Started off contending with the one at the beginning, then he just flat out. I mean, he outdrove me the entire race, but really flat out outdrove me the last 30 laps or so. Started checking away. I made a couple of mistakes. Kind of even paced with the 3 and 2. So for the iRating that those guys have, I'll take that and be pretty happy with that overall. Like I said, the iRatings for the top 7 drivers, we were all pretty decent. 27, 27:20 coming into the race was what the 7 was. So from me, the 6, the 7, we were all pretty close to each other. The 1 again was a really good driver. But I mean, really, like top half of the field was actually pretty strong, really overall. So got to be pretty happy with that result, even if I'm still tired of getting beat and still can't figure this out. We're definitely taking steps in the right direction, getting there. It's progress. So gonna keep grinding it, and as I keep doing this, especially when I keep coming back to tracks that I've ran before, get a little more comfortable with, we'll keep finding some more pace. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that one. Feel free to leave your feedback on the racing between the 3 and the 4. Like I said, I think it was all just flat out netcode. That kind of knocked the 4 out of the way. Nobody did anything wrong. Everybody was running each other really clean. The deal with the 6 and the 8 is something else. You can feel free to leave your analysis or your input on that. I think the 8, yeah, had to expect to move a payback coming back, and had to expect it a little bit harder. And just kind of took it a little too personally. If he wouldn't have dished anything to the 6, then I doubt the 6 would have done anything back to him. So it's kind of where I stand on that one. That's just short track racing in a sense. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that one. Try to get AB fixed out, maybe a road race or something. Then we just again, all gonna depend on what the schedule works like, and how much of the real life commitments I get done first. So glad to be back for a couple races though. Decent finishes. Well, this was a decent finish. Arca, not as well as I wanted it to be, but nice to see things going in a positive direction for being off for so long, and hopefully you guys enjoy that one. So till the next one, I hope all your laps are fast, your races are clean, and your finishes are good. Thanks for watching.